Hey y'all, welcome back. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how I get like full coverage beat glam makeup, but how I make it look super natural. If you guys have been here long enough or watched any of my videos, I always state how I really like my makeup to look natural. So I'm going to show you guys how I achieve that. And this video is also going to be like a fall makeup tutorial because it is fall now, which I'm so excited about. Fall and winter are my favorite seasons. So this also is going to be like a little bit of fall makeup mixed into our full coverage but make it natural. I already moisturized my face, so I am going to prime just a little bit. I'm going to use the Becca Evermatte Poreless Priming Perfector, and I'm just literally just going to put this on my cheeks right here, a little bit on my forehead, and a little bit on my chin. So I'm really not putting this all over my face because I really don't want the super matte look. I'm really just putting it where my pores are extra large and enhanced. So for foundation, how I personally make my foundation look natural, even though I'm gonna give like, you know, full coverage, I take my foundation and I mix it in with my Skinglass product. Skinglass is a glistening and nourishing antioxidant rich face oil. It has grapeseed, jojoba, and neem oil in it. So what I do is mix this oil in with my foundation, and I feel like it kind of dilutes the foundation a little bit and it gives me that nice glowy look without too much coverage. So the foundation really is up to you, but the one I'm going to use today is the L'Oreal Infallible up to 24-hour wear foundation. This is in the shade 510 Hazelnut, and I'm going to pour about let's do 1.5 pumps, so this much of foundation. Then I'm going to take my Skinglass product, going to make sure I shake it up, and I'm going to mix in about 2 drops of this. So 1, 2, like that. I'm just going to blend this in together just to make sure it is all blended, and I'm gonna start dotting this on my face. And then another trick to kind of make this look super natural, I've been using a big fluffy brush like this one. This one is the Sigma Large Powder F30 brush, and a brush like this is going to soak up a lot of that product, so it's not going to allow too much of that product to dispense onto your face, and it's really just going to give you like a nice natural kind of buffered look. So I'm just going to take this and do circular motions and blend this in. Make sure I bring it down to my neck. And I'm not really going to bring the foundation up under my eyes because we're already going to put concealer there, and I just don't want it to look too cakey under the eyes. And then what I like to do when I feel like some areas of my face need a little bit more coverage, I just take the foundation and just take a little bit like so, and I just dab it on the areas that I feel like could use a little bit more coverage. So a little bit like spot concealing, but with the foundation. That way you're not really building like a second layer upon that. You're just adding extra coverage where needed rather than adding extra coverage all over your face. So any oil-based product like this would work. You can also do this with like a moisturizer. You can do like 50% foundation, 50% moisturizer, and that would also kind of dilute the foundation and make it look a little bit more natural as well. So my foundation is on and I pretty much have the coverage that I want. It still looks natural, looks like my skin, and it's also glowy from that Skinglass product, so I'm good with this. So moving on to concealer, first I'm going to use my e.l.f. 16-hour Camo Concealer in the shade Deep Cinnamon. Now this is a little bit darker than my actual skin tone and it's a little bit more red. Now I like this because I feel like it really kind of color corrects my darkness under my eyes, around my mouth, and things like that. So I'm gonna take this first and I'm gonna just dot just a little bit, try and keep it in the center of the face, and then you can use whatever tool you're gonna blend it out with to blend it in other areas. I'm gonna dot this around my breakouts, around my mouth, and I'm actually going to blend this out with the concealer brush. This is the e.l.f. concealer brush, and I like using a concealer brush when using this specific concealer just because I feel like it really gets in those targeted areas that I kind of want to color correct. Now when I get under my eye, I like to kind of dab the concealer And you see I'm kind of dragging it to the rest of the eye. And also on pimples like this, I really don't expect it to obviously disguise it. But what I like to do with the concealer is just kind of go over top of it. That way it'll kind of dull down some of that darkness on it, if that makes sense. Also, my nose area is a problem area for me because I feel like my makeup kind of gathers in this crease here. And so I like to make sure I always have this blended out. You can see a dramatic difference in my under eye circles, around my mouth, and all of the areas I put that concealer. It just really helps kind of color correct the darkness. So I love doing this step before I go in with the highlighting concealer. And for the highlighting concealer, I'm going to use the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade Honey. And same thing, I'm going to keep this right kind of like in the more inner part of my eye, and then just drag it when I blend it out to the other areas. And I'm gonna go up just a little bit more. I'm also gonna do little dabs on my nose, above my lip, and on my chin. And I'm also gonna start with my e.l.f. concealer brush as well. And I like to bring the highlighting concealer down a tad bit more. And I like to dab with this brush first under my eye. And I don't know if you could tell from this, but keeping the highlighting concealer kind of like in this area and then blend it out, it allows the light to go right to this area. So most of the brightness is right in this area, and that's kind of what we want with highlighting under the eyes. Okay, so once I have that blended out, I'm gonna take my beauty blender, it is dirty, excuse that, and just kind of pat over that area just to make sure everything is blended in all nicely. Okay, so my concealer is on, and basically what keeps the concealer portion of my full coverage but make it look natural look natural is that I kept the concealer just in the inner portion of my eye and then drag the concealer out with like my tool, and that is gonna, you know, obviously allow you not to use as much concealer, therefore your under eye won't look so cakey. So from here I'm gonna set my face. I'm gonna use my beauty blender tool under my eyes to set, and the powder I'm gonna be using is the N Wild Photfocus pressed powder in the shade Golden Tan, and I've been obsessed with this ever since I got it. You can bake if you want to from here, but I'm really not on a baking craze right now, so I'm going to skip it. What I'm gonna do is take my beauty blender, go into the powder, pick up some of that product, and then I'm gonna dab it right under my eyes. And that is going to obviously set that concealer in place, make sure it doesn't budge. And I feel like the beauty blender is the best tool to do this under the eye, because it really allows you to get right all up in the business and the crevices rather than like a brush. So I love setting my under eye with a beauty blender and setting the rest of my face with an actual brush. So that powder just really like makes it look like I have a filter on my face. I love that powder. So then I'm just going to take a fluffy brush. This is the Real Techniques multitask brush, and I'm going to take that same powder and just dust it on the rest of my face lightly. Okay, so now I'm going to apply some bronzer. Now, if you want a cream contour before you add your bronzer, you can do that. Today, I'm not in that mood, so I'm gonna go straight to bronzer. And I've been obsessed with the Wet n Wild Color Icon bronzer in the shade Queensland. And I'm just going to stamp it on and then circular motions to blend it out. So I love this bronzer because it's super natural, not too heavy, and it doesn't look like a big streak on your face. All right, so my bronzer is on and blended out. So now I'm gonna actually go off camera and do my eyebrows, and then I'll be right back. We're gonna get into the eyes and do a fall eyeshadow look. So be right back. All right, so I'm back. Brows are on. As you can see, I am really into like the big feathery brow look. So I got some new shadows from JD Glow that I kind of want to play with. So they were having a buy one get one free sale, so I picked up 4 shadows. But first I'm going to start off with this Colourpop shadow right here called Paper Tiger. So just putting Paper Tiger all over my lid. Just know that this color may vary if you have a fair skin tone or if you are lighter than me. It'll probably show up a lot more on you. This Colourpop shade is called Bratty. I'm gonna go into that with a fluffy brush and just lightly put it on my crease area. I'm like really barely tapping it in there because I really want this to look more like a one eyeshadow look. And this is a NYX brush. This is the NYX number 16 brush. So moving on to the actual stars of the show. These are the some of the new JD Glow shades that I picked out. So I have this one, this one, this one, and this one. So I'm kind of leaning more toward like this shade right here. So this is how Bestie looks. It's like this really pretty orangey yellowish gold color. I'm just going to apply this to the lid. It's really pretty, very glittery. I haven't used these yet, only swatched them. So I'm gonna try and be careful because I really don't want any fallout on my face. Now that that is all on my lid like so, I really like it. I think this is pretty. I'm gonna go back to that NYX brush that we used with no added shadow on it and just kind of blend this out. And then I'm going to take a brown eyeliner. This is by Colourpop. This is their cream gel liner in the shade Call Me, and I'm gonna put this in my lower lash line. So now that I got that down, I'm going to take that same orange shade that we first started out with, put it in the crease by Colourpop called Bratty. And I'm going to take it in my lower lash line and kind of smudge that brow liner. And this is just a pencil brush. I think this is by Sonia Kashuk. This is not really doing it for me. It's too stiff. I'm going to switch to this brush. This is an e.l.f. lip defining brush, but I don't use it for the lips. And I'm just gonna kind of blend this out. Alright, so now that I have that all situated, I'm gonna add a color to the inner corner. This is like my favorite part when I do eyeshadow. And I'm gonna use another one of my new JD Glow shadows. So this one is like a little champagne-ish orangish color. This is called Starluster. I really like how that looks. I think it looks so cool. So for mascara, I'm gonna use the Wet n Wild Maxfanatic mascara. Okay, so mascara is on. So now I'm going to move on to blush. And this has been my favorite part of this whole routine that I currently have been doing. Makeup artist who created Skinglass, she also does like some little Insta story tutorials and stuff sometimes. And she did this one time in one of her little Insta tutorials, and I was obsessed, and ever since I've been doing it. So you take one of your liquid lipsticks. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Modern Meadows liquid lipstick. It's just kind of like a reddish color, and what you do is mix it with Skinglass, and it creates this really dope cream blush. And obviously it's cream blush, so it's going to look way more natural than a powder blush would, and it just sits on top of the skin really pretty. It blends out pretty, and it stays for a really long time, and it just creates this really glowy cream blush. And this is my favorite liquid lipstick to do it with because this one shows up really nicely, and I feel like the color goes with a lot of my face looks. So once you kind of have it stippled on, I like to take a beauty blender and just kind of dab over it. And obviously you don't have to use and put on as much as I did. I just really love this technique, and I love blush, so I just think it looks really nice. And doing this technique, as you can see, really gives me like a nice glowy look, and it just looks so pretty, especially outside in the sun. So next we're going to highlight. So first I'm going to put down the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Topaz, and this is just a gold highlight. I like to do circular motions on my cheekbones. I just feel like it gives the most natural effect, and I like to bring it to my temples as well. And you can stop right here with the highlight, but me, I'm a little extra when it comes to this, and I like to look really dewy glass-like. So I'm going to take my Danessa Myricks Dew Wet Balm in the shade Hot Water, and this is just basically like glossy goodness. And I like to just take this on my finger and dab it right on the areas where I put the highlighter, and then I just take my beauty blender and dab this out, and it just gives my cheekbones this really pretty glossy effect, and it looks super amazing like when you're actually in front of people, like in real life and sunlight. And I am someone who has combination oily skin, and I really don't feel like that any of like these steps make me super oily, and it just brings this really nice dew effect to my cheeks, and it just looks so pretty. And lastly, we're gonna do the lips. So I haven't really done a bold lip in a while, and I feel like a really pretty purple lip will look cute with this. So I'm gonna start off with my MAC Nightmoth Lipliner, which is just like a dark vampy plummy lip liner. So I have two different purple lipsticks. One is one of my favorite purples. It's the MAC Heroin Lipstick, and then I have a newer purple lipstick. This is the Uoma Beauty lipstick in the shade Chaka. So first I'm going to go in with the MAC one and put this all over, and then I'm going to go in with a little bit of the Uoma shade, and I'm going to try and just keep it in the center. It's pretty much almost identical to the matte color. So here is my finished look. I hope you guys learned something from this video. This is how I get full coverage makeup but still make it look natural. I hope you guys learned a little bit of tips and tricks that you may want to use in your own routine, whether it be new tools to try out as far as makeup brushes, or just adding like creams and stuff in your routine just to see how you like it. So that's how I've been doing my full coverage but make it natural routine. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in my next one.